Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. God willing, guys, we will see my courses together on how we can practically perform a circuit breaker timing test. The first thing we will do is the test connection, and as we agreed before, I have two circuits. The first circuit I have is the control circuit, which consists of the discharging motor, the closing coil, and the tripping coil. The second circuit we have is the primary circuit, which consists of the main poles of the circuit breaker. Now I will show you the video. In this video, we explained the test connection for the circuit breaker timing test. Let's start the test. The Egil device's breaker analyzer with features includes general setting and operation sequence setting. Enter main menu to find setup, print, save, recall, display, monitor, calibration. The first thing I have is the general settings. I will come here and press on sequence or menu, and I will start to enter the main menu where I will find setup, print, save, recall, display, monitor, calibration. I will start first with the setup. When I enter the setup, it tells me the first thing is the measuring time. Now the device will have a test report that it will start to generate for you. Okay, the test report now, the test that it will execute depends on the equipment you are working on. The time you will calculate, whether it's close open, whatever the time you will get, within what limits. Of course, I am talking about a circuit breaker. So the shortest thing I have, even if I perform the open-close operation, more than 400 million people are stuck in a rut. More than 400 million people are stuck in a rut. But if I test another component, like the disconnector or the earth switch, it may reach up to 5 seconds. There is a range here from 1 second up to 100 seconds, which is very nice. So I set it to 1 second. The second thing is the language. I set it to English. The third thing is the auto sequence. The idea is quite simple. The Egil device has feedback taken from the circuit breaker, so it knows whether it is currently closed or open. As you can see here, the breaker is closed and there is a lamp here that is dimmed, meaning it is not working with you. This means the breaker is open. So if you say as auto sequence on and then return here to the sequence, it will tell you that the next sequence is either closed or closed open, meaning the process starts with closing. But if I tell you that the auto will close the operation, you will find that the entire process available to you is from closing the operation to closing the operation, and so on. Very nice. So I will go back here again and tell it that the auto sequence remains on. The last thing I have in the setup menu tells you the time base. So I come and tell it that I want to measure the time base in arcus milliseconds. With that, I have finished the setup. I will move on to the second thing I have, which is the print. Regarding the print, it asks if you want to do an auto print out that follows the report automatically after you finish your test, on or off. Well, normally you would turn it on, but in our stations, when I turn it on and, for example, I have a problem with the connection or any issues, I end up wasting a lot of paper due to the prints I keep making. Therefore, it's preferable to turn it off. And after you execute your test and ensure everything is fine and verify the test results through the device itself. As we will see now, you can then do a manual print. The second thing is the contents. As you can see on the screen now, you can get the test report in graph only or have it display every test result. As you can see, very nice. So I will tell it all. Then it asks you about compressed time. Now, when it performs the close or open operation or whatever operation it is doing, for example, the breaker closes after 30, 40, 50 milliseconds. So what about the rest of the 1 second that I initially set as your range? What should it do with it? It can compress that time, and you might see it initially moving with certain steps. Then suddenly it skips the 1 second. So I will tell it on. The automatic towards the color, towards the color, towards the color. Then you have, I will also leave it with you. I don't have it. So I will tell it how I will proceed. So I will come and tell it. And based on what it calculated, it will start drawing for you with a certain scale. You have the current scale as well. The current that the cruising coil or the tripping coil draws is also plotted for you as a graph, and it is also scaled. So I will also tell it, what is your scale? Your scale is auto, all right? Then I have the save and see recall. All of this I don't need. The display is where I can see my test results. And as you can see now, the memory is empty because you haven't recorded any tests in it so far. I will press escape, and then I don't need anything from these things. All right, let's start the test. I will press sequence again and I will press close. This way I have finished the general settings on the device. All right, I have the operation sequence settings left. The first setting in it is close. When I press enter, okay, we explained in the video that will appear to you now. The method of setting the close sequence and the open, close, open sequence. When we talked about the close sequence, we said we could give the close pulse about 20 or 30 milliseconds. which would be sufficient for the close coil to pick up and release its springer, especially for the close operation under the circuit breaker. It is not necessary for the close pulse to equal the closing time of the circuit breaker. That's why I will start by saying here 0, and then, for example, say 20 or 30 milliseconds and confirm it. All right, here I have the operate and the measure. The operate means that I will be able to perform the test without recording any results on the device. But the measure means that I will perform the test and record the results on the device. Therefore, you can start with the operate, for example, to ensure the test connections and then proceed with the measure. However, I am sure of the test connections, so I will reissue the close command. So I will start by issuing the close command here. As you can see, the feedback from the circuit breaker indicates that the circuit breaker is off, and the result from the auto will turn it on. It tells you that the results for nickel can be off, 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 or off. If I want to see the update results, I will enter the menu, and as we agreed, I will go to the display. In the display, I will see the update on pole L1, 36.6 milliseconds. On L2, on L3, and then you have about, and this is acceptable for us. We said about, depending on the manufacturer, it is available for you in, we said our range is about 2 milliseconds or 4 milliseconds. Depending on the manufacturer, it is available for you in the FAT test. This is the current that was drawn for the closing coil at the moment of close. Very nice. I have a device and I can print its results, but I will not print its results. I will print the results of the open, close, open, and we will see in the next video, God willing, how I can analyze or read the printout report from the device. Now I will execute the next operation sequence, which is the open, close, open. The first thing I will start with is the operation sequence setting. I will begin entering it here. If the operation setting is 60, I will start entering it here. I will start entering it here. It tells you now that you want the duration between the first open command to the cross command and between the cross command to the second open command. This is the duration between the post of edge of the first open command to the cross command and the duration between the post of edge of the close command to the post of edge of the second open command. Very good. We agreed that the first time setting will be about 0.3 seconds and the second time setting will be 30 milliseconds. Press enter again and it shows us the amount of the open pulse. We said that 20 milliseconds is quite sufficient for both the first open pulse and the second open pulse. Then, for the close pulse, we said the close pulse can also be 20 or 30 milliseconds. Now I am ready with my settings and can start executing my test. I will begin to take measurements. And I can also go to the display menu here and start to see my test results. However, we will see together in the next video, as I promised you, how I can read the test results or the printout results that come from the device. Now I will start printing. All right then. And with that, we can say we have completed the circuit breaker timing test.